It's often been said that no good deed goes unpunished. That seems especially true for the little people in the land of the giants.
Imagine Alexander Fitzhugh getting up before dawn, investing literally hours in clandestine scrounging, away with a miserable moldy carrot.
Of course, some of them have a tendency to bring a bit of it on themselves.
Hey, that guy's gonna jump.
Now we should get it over with, so we can hope and get some breakfast.
It's a lousy thing to say.
I can understand getting suicidal, I've been there, but this guy is being more than a little selfish about it because that's not a bridge over a river or something like that. It's an overpass. He intends to jump off it and traumatize at least one driver and maybe several for life.
Don't! Don't do it!
You're one of those little people.
It's good to know John Carradine still has good eyesight.
Yes. Look, why don't you just go home? Things can't be that bad.
What you know about it.
Well, you know what they say. There's a solution for every problem.
You're absolutely right. And you're it.
As I said, no good deed goes unpunished. They save his life, he captures them. Then again, if someone had come back at me with a statement as lame as Valerie's, I might drop a hat over them too. A better thing to say would have been, then let's go somewhere and you can fill us in. I always laughed at the expression, they say. They who? Who are they? Where are they? What qualifies them to say things? All my life I've heard about these mysterious people, never found them. I'm starting to think they're a myth.
Miss!
Yes?
He shoves them into a shoebox and then offers to buy them some food.
Well, why don't you just let us go? Pick up a sandwich some other place.
Look, it's nice of you to go to all this trouble, Mr. Whatever your name is.
You mean you don't know who I am?
No, not really.
They don't recognize the face, and the name Egor Krull doesn't ring any bells either. He's shocked and saddened. They're not from around here, dude. You may have heard that they're aliens. They haven't watched too many movies on this planet. Yes, he used to be a famous horror actor, but a few of his pictures bombed, and suddenly the studios weren't interested anymore. He was going to jump because he felt he had nothing left.
Why should you know who I am, when even my fans have forgotten?
Igor, it's been very nice meeting you, but if you don't mind, we've got to be going.
Go? Huh. You can't go anyplace. I've got plans for you. You're all going to be movie stars.
Well, sure, it's not as though they have any plans of their own. I mean, just a little while ago, they were sitting around saying, I wish some has-been actor would come along and put us in the movies. Next thing we know, he's been thrown out of 7 studios in a row with nobody willing to so much as take a look in the box. There's one more possibility, but he wouldn't even think about it if he wasn't scraping the bottom of the barrel.
But when one is starting back up the ladder, it might as well be at the bottom rung.
He had a way of delivering lines like that with just the right amount of resignation and anticipation. The last time we saw John Carradine, he was giving Penny a mysterious gift on Lost in Space. He didn't set out to be an actor. He trained as a sculptor and sketch artist. He did some theater for fun, and the next thing he knew, he was in L.A. asking Cecil B. DeMille for a job as a set designer. DeMille didn't need a set designer, but he did need a voice actor and knew young Mr. Carradine was a perfect fit. From there, he worked his way up the ladder and made his bones and all that, and eventually became a Hollywood legend. Egor Krull here is a bit of typecasting because John Carradine's specialty was horror. He was good enough that he could even put in a decent performance in an absurdity like Billy the Kid versus Dracula. While he was doing movies and TV, he also had a prolific stage career, mainly doing Shakespeare. How's that for versatility, from Dracula to Hamlet? Then again, maybe that's not that big a jump. Anyway, there's not much more you can say about the man. He was one of those rare individuals who managed to achieve larger-than-life status within his own lifetime, yet he was fine taking time off from all that to do a show like this. As I said, the character of Egor Krull is taking him back to his roots in horror, but the typecasting only goes so far because, to my knowledge, John Carradine was never a has-been. Well, that's certainly promising. Manfred Studios is a third-rate, low-budget operation that makes whatever the level is about 6 steps below B movies. In other words, they're hacks who are in it for the money and couldn't care less about things like artistry and, quality.
What are you doing in here? Beat it, I'm busy.
But you see, I have this Maytag and it needs repairing, so I came to you. Jesse White had a fairly lackluster career until 1968 when he landed the role of Maytag's long-suffering repairman in their commercials. He was sometimes called the loneliest man on the planet because, according to the commercials, their appliances never needed repairing. He held that role until 1989, a 21-year run that clinched his fame. I remember one in particular where he actually got a call to come fix something. All the way from his shop to the lady's house, he's going around telling everybody, I get to fix a Maytag. He gets there and discovers she knocked the plug out of the wall. He makes his big fix and goes back to being bored and lonely. At some point, they gave him a dog. I think it was a basset hound, but I don't remember much about that. He was the memorable one, and he hasn't got time for used-to-bes.
No wonder you can't get a job in this town. Now get out of here before I break both your legs. So all I've got to do is listen to...
He's pitching a movie about an evil scientist who creates some realistic dolls and uses them to cause havoc and destruction. Since he doesn't have to go to the expense of building the actual functioning dolls, Manfred is in. They'll make beautiful pictures together and save the studio from being foreclosed.
Quick! Get in here, quick!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Quick! I want you to get me a skeleton crew together. No more than 4. You understand? And make sure that one of them is a brilliant cameraman.
Yes, sir.
And quick, I don't want to spend more than $15 a day. You get it?
Oh, I know just the man. Nice and hungry.
It's our pal Zumdish from Lost in Space, also known as Fritz Feld. And our director, Harry Harris, should have been kicked in the butt for not having him make his characteristic noise. I waited for it the whole episode and went to bed feeling unfulfilled.
How do you know these people will work for you?
Why shouldn't they? They'll get the best of everything. Food, shelter, every luxury.
Every luxury except the freedom to do what they want, not what some greedy clown and some cut-rate actor want them to do. But the giants never consider that. To them, the little people are only a step or two above tiny animals. Why not keep them as pets as long as you take good care of them?
Once you get the miniature set up, I think you should get Baby ready. She'll fit right into our storyline, huh?
I think she will. I believe she...
When James Bond asked for little Nellie, she turned out to be a miniature helicopter. I wonder what kind of gadget Baby is.
We made several pictures together. But where did you get her?
What do you mean, where I got her? I bought her.
Well, don't you think it might be dangerous to have Baby work with the little people?
Well, we'll discuss that later, Igor. Look, I've got a lot of things to do if I'm going to start shooting a picture.
Note to self, Baby is apparently not a gadget. What none of those guys knows is Steve has been in more or less constant contact with Dan. Dan and Barry have been following them, and they're outside the studio right now.
Well, maybe we could find Igor and ask him if we could be in the movie, too.
I don't think you'll want to be an actor on this planet. All you would ever get is small parts.
Catch me, I may faint. Dan made a joke. And isn't it a given that there are no small parts, only small actors? Except I'm not sure anybody who ever said that meant it literally. They watch Quig as he's moving stuff into a soundstage.
That must be where they are, where he just went in.
Yeah, when he comes out again, maybe we can sneak past the...
In case you're wondering, that's Baby, a guy in a low-budget gorilla suit. Really, Irwin? That's the best your monster department could come up with? Having said that, I remember some of the critters from Lost in Space, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised.
Want to make another picture, don't you? All right, boys. Take Baby inside.
Manfred wants to expose his little people to that. Steve and company need to get a better agent. At least Manfred set them up a little dressing room where they can wait until it's time to film.
What do you need with that?
Well, Fitzhugh, this is to keep in touch with Dan so that we can make our break.
What break? What are you talking about? This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm not going anyplace.
You know, he's not entirely wrong for a change. If we do make Manfred's picture, he might give us a break.
What happens if he decides to do a sequel or a series?
Mark didn't think about that. Manfred has no reason to ever let them go, especially if the picture does well. He can just see it. Dancing Devil Dolls 8, The Quest for More Money.
Then we got a lifetime job.
Well, I, for one, am tired of living on old giant carrots that drag out of back alleys. The stage is my life.
Since when? First he was a military man, then the racetrack was his life. His passions changed like Washington weather. If he thinks there's some advantage to the thing, it's been his main thing all his life. We saw Valerie's reaction, and I think everybody concerned shares it.
I only want to resume my thespian career.
Your what?
Well, I did do a little bit of acting way back in
Yeah, and where?
college. You should have seen my interpretation of Hamlet. I was magnificent.
His performance put special emphasis on the ham part. They always say, I was magnificent. They never say, I got the job done, or I was adequate, but the part didn't really fit me, or anything like that. Something about Hamlet seems to stir the ego to heights that reality never reached.
Fitzhugh, you're cracking up.
Insult me if you like. But I'm not getting myself squashed for trying to escape.
You know, Fitzhugh has a point. Besides, we'd be helping poor old Igor, and that old has-been needs all the help he can get.
He did say let us go after one picture.
But is he still in charge of you? Sure doesn't look like it. Seems to me Manfred has taken over. And I don't think he's quite as promise-keepy as Igor is. Still, Steve agrees. We play it Igor's way for now.
What's the matter, sweetheart? Feel a little temperamental today? Huh? Just like all the actors. Out of work 2 months, they start to turn ugly.
You're tormenting her with a stick. How do you expect her to act? Manfred is that all-too-common bully. He gets his jollies lording it over others, human or otherwise. He's a very small man who pushes others around to make himself feel important. There's a good chance we all know somebody like this. Probably many somebodies.
Sets are lit, cameraman and crew are ready. We can shoot anytime.
Good boy, Quick. Oh, brother. No wonder you can't get any work in this town. Look at you. You're about as frightening as a caterpillar.
Why did he go with green? He's an evil butler, not a Martian. Manfred says, go redo your makeup. Eventually, he settles on a pasty white, which makes a tad more sense. A tad. And he's not in this scene anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
But if anything should happen to those little people...
Quig, you're about to witness the most fantastic, the most exciting footage ever put on film. So what if we lose one of the little people along the way here and there? What's the difference? They're enemy aliens, right?
Right.
As I said, I don't think Igor is control of what happens to the little people anymore, so his promise means squat. It's hard to tell whether Dan and Barry heard that exchange or not. On with the show.
You four are living dolls created by the eccentric scientist Sir Jonathan. And you live in this big, eerie house that he's built for you. Now, unfortunately, poor Jonathan has just died.
I thought Igor was playing the evil doctor. He should have a pretty easy time playing a dead guy.
The will leaves Sir Jonathan's fortune to be divided amongst all of you, including the sinister butler, played by my old friend, Egor Krull. But each of you wants all of the money for himself, and you'll stop at nothing to get the others out of the way.
It's not exactly a Groucho Marx comedy, is it?
What's that?
Let's give it.
They don't have a script, they ad-lib some dialogue along those lines, and Manfred is delighted. Got it in one take. It's nice when that happens. It even happened to me once. I had a rare moment of untongue-tiedness. Those moments might happen a bit more often if I'd stopped creating words like that for myself to try and spit out. For the next scene, they hear something on the balcony, and Valerie goes to investigate.
Keep that camera turning.
Baby? You heard me. Put her down this instant.
Now tell her to give Manfred a punch in the snoot. No, Egor still doesn't grasp what's going on here.
Come along now. Come along.
Keep it turning. Keep it turning.
Back to your cage. Come along. That's a girl. That's a good girl. That's a
Cut! Print that! Beautiful! Fantastic!
It would have been even better if she had swallowed Valerie, right? When the little people protest, Manfred insists that baby is harmless and wouldn't have hurt Valerie even if Egor hadn't come along. Naturally, Fitzhugh starts sucking up.
Mr. Fitzhugh sure sounds brave, doesn't he?
Yeah, he would. They've got the gorilla back in its cage.
In the early part of the series, Fitzhugh was a fairly complex character. He started out looking like he was going to be a Dr. Smith clone, but he started growing. Now this season, he's reverted to type, and as we go along, he's becoming more and more like Dr. Smith. I don't like it. He was way more human last season, but he's turning into a pale stereotype. I have to wonder why. Was it a deliberate decision or lazy writing? I suppose we'll never know, but I still don't like it.
You sure baby's still harmless? She doesn't seem as gentle as she used to be.
Would I kid an old friend like you, Igor? Of course she's harmless.
Why do you torture her like that? Why don't you leave her alone?
Because I got a right, that's why. She was a star in my last picture. It was a terrific flop. I lost a fortune.
Of course it's the animal's fault. It couldn't be that he's a terrible director and even worse producer. A trained gorilla deliberately sabotaged things just to annoy him. You know when he gets his comeuppance it's going to come from baby. The only question will be how severe it is. It's not exactly in line with my Christian ethics, but I find myself hoping she eats him. The next scene has Steve and Mark having a sword fight. No choreography, no questions about whether they know how to handle swords, just make it up as they go. The fight goes on for a while and moves out to the balcony.
You might get killed.
You stay out of this.
They'll get Steve up, no thanks to Manfred. Speaking of whom, he's all excited about the footage. The rest of them, not so much. When Egor protests, Manfred threatens to have some goons lock him in a closet. I think Egor just figured out that he's been had. He told Manfred that if he goes, the little people go because they belong to him. I have doubts about his ability to enforce that.
No one, not even the stars, to interfere while I'm directing.
Yeah, but railing and the fire, those little people might have been hurt or killed.
You know these old studios, rotted, falling apart. Unless you're suggesting, perhaps, that I purposely rigged that railing so it would break.
Which is exactly what he did. He had Quig make him a breakaway railing, and he substituted it for the original when Egor wasn't looking. And let's remember who set fire to the wastebasket.
That old bum is nothing but trouble, Mr. Manfred. Why do you keep on stringing him along for?
I'll never let those little people go. Never. As for our friend Igor, we'll be rid of him soon enough.
I wonder how he plans to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be fine.
Manfred's got a gun.
Yeah.
Let's get in that office. Come on.
All right. Now, don't worry about this pistol. It's only a stage prop. It's loaded with blanks. We're going to use it in the next scene.
A blank is enough to tear one of them to pieces, so that's not much comfort. But it won't be aimed at any of them. Dan and Barry are headed to Manfred's office. The plan? Call the SID and hope Steve and the others can slip out in the excitement when they get there.
Valerie, we won't be needing you, so you go to your dressing room and wait till we call you.
Better do what he says.
I wouldn't let him separate you. The scene involves Fitzhugh cutting the rope that holds the pistol's hammer so it shoots the evil butler, i.e. Igor. And it's easy to see that those are real bullets. I'm not sure why Steve hasn't noticed. In the office, Dan and Barry are discovering that the phone doesn't work.
Manfred didn't pay his bill. No wonder the phone's dead.
Yeah, that'll do it. In 1969, you could wait as much as a week for them to hook you up, but they could unhook you just like that. Weird, huh? But Dan just noticed something else.
Those aren't blanks, Barry. Those are real bullets.
Steve, come in. This is urgent.
What is it, Dan?
That gun's really loaded.
Cut the rope!
Igor has been kind of a groveling toady up to this point, but he just found his voice.
You fiend! You tried to make murderers of those little people.
Quick, help! Get him out of here! Lock him in the closet!
Too bad he only has one voice while Manfred has several. The closet is strong enough that he can't get out.
Do you think we can get Igor out of that closet?
We've got to, Barry.
It'll take him a moment to realize they're sitting on a whole bunch of gunpowder. They'll only need to empty one cartridge to have enough for what he has in mind.
Shall we proceed with the next scene, gentlemen?
Mr. Manfred, I don't want to be an actor anymore.
That goes for all of us, Manfred.
Oh, so it's a walkout, is it? Well, before you get too frisky with those hat pins you're holding, I suggest you have a little look at what the next scene's all about, huh?
Gentlemen, I suggest you start asking where Valerie is. And remember, this guy has the scruples of a cat tormenting a mouse. I told him not to let him separate them. Steve will execute a movie-perfect rescue just in time.
Hurry, Steve!
As we watch this sequence, it's really cool to realize the cast did their own stunts. That's really Deanna Lund hanging there, and Gary Conway is straining every muscle making those leaps and climbs. From what I've read, they all more or less insisted on it, and Irwin agreed. They did use stunt doubles a handful of times, but only a handful. They'll get Valerie swinging until Mark can grab her, then the others put their weight on the rope so Steve can swing back over. Manfred is so far beyond happy he can't think of a word for it. Of course, we've seen that he has about a 12-word vocabulary, mostly having to do with money, so that part isn't surprising. While Dan was preparing his gunpowder package, he had Barry scrounge up some giant nails. I had to wonder what they were for. Oh, that's what they were for.
But it's time to lock you up until morning. But don't worry, I've got a nice warm cage full of good things to eat. Oh! Now, you shouldn't have done that.
He's right. They should have poked harder.
Now, Dan! Quick, down the court.
As usual, Fitzhugh panics and runs off without the others. There are days when you wonder if he wouldn't be better off in SID custody. He'd be less likely to hurt himself there.
Well, Mr. Fitzhugh, imagine running into you. You'll get the others back for me, won't you?
I rest my case.
Now, you listen to me, you little people. I have Fitzhugh. He's taped to the floor of this miniature set. Now, I'll give you exactly 2 minutes to come back to me. You hear that? 2 minutes. If you don't, it's goodbye for your friend, Mr. Fitzhugh.
It's a good thing this planet measures time the same way we do. Steve says we have 2 minutes. For now, we wait for Dan. Dan is moving on to phase 2 of the plan.
Igor, can you hear me?
Who's that?
Never mind. Have you got a match?
Yes, but...
Look, I'm gonna shove something under the door to you. Stick it in the keyhole. Light the end with a match. Then hit the deck.
He has nothing to lose by giving it a try, so here goes.
What's that?
Well, let's go.
It's showdown time for those two, and without all those other guys, they're pretty evenly matched. The little people couldn't care less. They're out of here. Steve will get Fitzhugh while the rest make tracks.
Just stand here.
Now they'll make tracks while Steve gets Fitzhugh. Meanwhile, Baby is on a mission. Remember Irving's rule, bad guy goes for a weapon? Here's another one you can take to the bank. They always go up. Doesn't matter where it is or what the fighter chases about, they find some way to go up. What I have never seen is a reason to go up, because there's nothing up there. All you're doing is trapping yourself. But watch from now on when you see one of these old shows, and you'll see it's true. They always go up. They go up, and bad guy grabs a weapon. It's good to know we're following all the rules. This show has been a little inconsistent about such things, but I do wonder if she's going to kill him. That doesn't sound like killing music, so what's she going to do?
Baby's revenge.
No, baby, no, baby, help!
Okay, that was much better than tearing his head off. Although I would have been interested to see how Irwin's effects department handled that. I confess I more than half expected the wall to fall down.
Igor!
He's off to who knows what, but he got the idea of jumping out of his system. They saved his life, and I think he realizes it. He's already decided that the next time he meets them, he'll capture them with a much nicer hat. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click the thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, the button looks something like this. So click it and join our little family. There's a bell there that may or may not actually work to give you notifications when we post something, but it can't hurt to click it just in case. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And the name Egor Krull doesn't ring any bells. DeMille didn't need a set. Managed to achieve larger than life status was He didn't set out to be an actor. He did. Come on. I thought Igor was playing the eagle. Okay. A rare moment of untongue-tiedness. Those